My bad. Hello. Um, this is not a normal night, of course, but um, in light of recent events, I just felt the need to come on and maybe we could have a little dialogue or discussion because I'm really trying to understand. Um, is this really a thing? Are we really um, in a place where uh, Black women um, are being blatantly disrespected, and it's kind of becoming okay, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. Definitely not what's up. Um, and not just from Trump today during the National Black Journalism function that they had today in Chicago. But also, well, let's go a little further. Miss Netta, Charles and Netta. Charles, your lunch is ready. She talked about how white women are smarter than Black women, and so on and so forth. So I'm just kind of very confused. Like, where are we as people? Is that a gray hair? Looking crazy. Like, where are we? Are we that mesmerized by the other that we don't see pride in ourselves? That we don't see pride in the women that brought us into this world? And I get it. Everybody's had their own different experiences with their own mothers, and they may have, some anger or something. But this is getting crazy. This is really getting crazy. Welcome to everybody. I know you may be watching or whatever, or watching on the replay, and that's perfectly fine. So please leave your thoughts, comments, or concerns. But it's just a question I had because I'm really just like, the hell are we doing? So for those of you who don't know, Trump, Darnell, aka Darnell, former President Trump, aka the Republican candidate for president yet again, Donald Trump, popped up in Chicago for the National Black Journalism Conference. Now, part of me is like, that's what they get for inviting his ass. you already knew that it wasn't going to be a hunky-dory type thing, right? Um, but the other part of me, as I watched it, really just showed the blatant disrespect that he has for women, let alone black women, and the fact that going there, displaying the way he displayed to his base, giving them kind of encouragement to do that to people outside that they see, because they do mimic him. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even a thing of they don't mimic him. Hey, Auntie Donna, how are you? Hey, Riri Carter, what's going on? Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for dropping down. But yeah. So, and I know a whole lot of other stuff is going on, so I'm not worried. But I think we get to a point where some things are important, and this being a very important election cycle, I think nothing needs to go unnoticed, right? Yes, I have a bit of an issue even with Kamala Harris's rally in Atlanta. It shouldn't be a star-studded event, but we'll get into that some other time, right? So right now, I'm just really concerned about what we're putting forth, what we're allowing to be accepted for Black women. That I think it's crazy that people should be taking more of a stance to say, no, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect any woman like that. You didn't disrespect Laura Ingraham. We would have never known if Laura Ingraham was 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, or if Laura Ingraham or anybody on Fox News had any technical problems. You wouldn't have never said anything like that. You would have never said that. And because she asked you a simple question, which you did pose, you said all these things. So it's like, well, what did you mean by them? Oh, I think it's just a nasty person asking nasty questions. Are you with ABC? Like, come on, like, really? But Laura Ingraham asked him the same exact question, and he danced around it. He didn't call her nasty. He didn't, and these are just kind of blanketed, covered words. Because he's not going to say, you're a nasty bitch. He wants to. I'm sure he does. But he's not going to say it. But you know who will say it? The person you may see in Walmart. And that's where my problem lies. He throws out these disrespectful things to not only this woman, but other Black women. He did it while, what's her name? April Ryan was in the White House, the press in the press pool. Yamiche Yacinder, he did it to her while she was in the press pool, and he was president. All the Black reporters that just asked them a simple question to answer, it's always been kickback. That's a nasty question, a nasty woman. It's just this kind of, you're a nasty person. And I'm just really trying to figure out where we going, like, where are we headed? And is this going to be a thing that's just okay? Because all this is going to do is the people are going to watch it and just think, okay, cool. Now we know how to handle them moving forward. And in view of what just happened a few days ago with that woman being murdered by a police officer who didn't give a shit about her life, like, your attitude towards these journalists asking you simple questions didn't help the situation at all. In Chicago, no less. Like, it's just not, definitely not what's up. And people just ignore it or trope it as entertainment, or he's just trying to, put himself in the news because the news is about Kamala right now, and he wants to just put himself in the forefront. It's about the vice president, or it's about, the shitty comments that JD Vance made about women and about people who don't have kids, how they shouldn't be able to vote or have that much voting power in elections moving forward. But why is this? And I kind of blame us for that, because we put that forward. If, um, in our music and things like that, we put out that kind of rhetoric of women not being valued, right? So with women not being valued in our music and in our culture, in our quote unquote hip hop culture, uh, other people watch it. We ain't the only ones that watch it and are influenced by it. We know that by, our buying power. We're not, and what they use to influence us. So we know we're not the only ones that watch these things or listen to the music. But when we constantly feeding ourselves this, these others are taking it in like, yeah, they don't. And yeah, so we don't need to either. So, there's a whole bunch of disrespect going around and nobody's checking it. It's just constantly just flying. And it's just like, well, when do we just take a step back and go, whoa, that we can't allow you to do that. Like, you can ask your questions, you can be mad at the questions, you can be mad at the journalists, but there's only but so far we're gonna let you go. There's only but so far you can say. Because I just start to think about it as, what if that's my relative? What if that's my mother up there giving an interview? You ain't gonna talk to my mother crazy. You're not. And so I just feel like we are losing ourselves, right? In this hunt for what? Like, in this hunt for what? Like, what is the goal here? Because if everybody could disrespect us and we disrespect ourselves, then what are we doing? Like, I'm just, I don't know. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me and I'm just thinking too much, but I couldn't stomach it. I watched it, yes, but I really just could not just watching his interview with Ingram, and she asked the same question. In a nicer way, and she didn't press him on, well, what did you mean when you said you don't have to vote again? And he skated around it, but he never called her nasty. He never said, anything out of the way to her. Yeah, she's a supporter of his, but he don't know if she's a supporter of his either. Just because she asked the question, which was very true. If you're asking for the vote right now, you're asking for the black vote, and you said all these things, what do you mean? Because you can't say these things and then turn around and ask me for my vote and expect me to vote like for you wholeheartedly, believing, oh, you're just talking. Oh, that's just talk. That's just quote unquote locker room talk or whatever kind of talk you want to call it. I'm not buying that. No way, I'm not buying that. So I'm just really at a loss. Like, what are we doing as a people? Like, where are we going with this? This is crazy. He might as well just called her a bitch and all types of stuff. Because that's just what it felt like. And at first, I think the people thought like, okay, he's being funny. So you heard a couple laughs. Then after that, people stopped laughing because it didn't become funny anymore. It wasn't funny. He was blatantly up there being blatantly disrespectful and felt very comfortable doing so. And it's like, yo, how do you expect to be asking somebody for their vote and you just gonna be blatantly disrespectful to their face? And then no, because you know in yourself, they don't really care about that woman anyway. They gonna vote for me. I got the man vote because I'm a man and we don't want no woman, running for president. And I'm just like, you really can't be. I, I don't I don't buy it. I mean, I even listened to the Fox News anchor that was basically saying that the men in this country don't want a woman president, and some scientists said that if you vote for a woman, then you will become a woman. And I'm just like, yo, what kind of mothers did you people have? Like I even had to check my brother on that, and I know he plays with me because he knows I get a little like, are you serious right now? Because it's like for you to sit here and say, well, a woman can't do, and you've had a mother that ran a household, did this, did that, put you through school, did all these things, and you can strongly sit there and say that you feel like a woman can't do something. You're blatantly just disrespecting the person that brought you in this world and formed you to who you are in the early years, of course, but gave you that foundation. Because I'm just like, our community don't have the greatest track records of two-parent households. Let's just be very, for a whole slew of reasons, right? Some of just because how the system is set up, others just because they're never forced to be there, to stick it out and stay in there. They're quick to flee and go, other places because there's no accountability and no one's holding them to the fire. There's no other man checking them. Hey, you need to go back to your family. It's, man, I know how it is. You don't understand. You don't have no kids. Like, no, that's not. But we don't, we don't do that. I don't know. I just find it really crazy, like so crazy. What did you say? You think so? I mean, I think part of that, but I also think he did it because he was trying to show them that this is how you talk to them, but I'm gonna still get their vote. Like I'm gonna treat them like this. I'm gonna talk to them like this. They're still gonna turn around and vote for me because I've done more for them than Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, I mean, of course, flirting with but he's always doing that. He's always doing that. I don't even think he's trying to win the black vote necessarily. He definitely wants their vote though, and he knows what votes he's gonna get. He's gonna get that macho. I'm a man's man. I don't vote for no woman. I don't. No woman's gonna be president. Not on my watch. But it's like, yo, how you disrespect your mother like that? Your aunts, your uncles, your uncles, your aunts, your grandmothers, like the people that brought you up. Because even in our situations, sometimes your mother didn't raise you, but your grandmother did. And it's just like she didn't raise you. Just oh, I'm just doing womanly duties. No, she took care of you. She, made sure you was fed. How do you think all this stuff was happening? Just, some money was just flying down from the sky or growing on a tree, as our parents used to say, growing from trees, and they just, picked a couple dollars off the tree every time you needed something. No. Uh, what he thinks is going to work in his favor is making his chances worse. But is it though? My whole thing is it? Is all this actually making it worse for him? Or is some of it really ramping up others to be like, well, I kind of feel the same way. Yeah, they were disrespectful to you, which they weren't. She was just asking him straight up questions, just regular questions, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. She didn't disrespect him. She didn't anything. She even said hello and shook his hand in the beginning. And when she asked the first question, you didn't even say hello, hi, how are you? Sir, you're lying right there. She shook your hand and said hello. But she did not. What she didn't do was get combative with him and give off again the angry woman and be combative with him. She just continued to just ask him questions that he refused to answer. Because it's like you say this stuff and then you think, I guess, well, it's just for TV. But no, this is real. Like this is really happening in real time. Like I'm really, and it's not just him. It's not just him. Even the whole situation that Mr. Netta has got him or herself into. It started with her going off on the black woman in her comments, which I don't understand that either, because it's like, you put yourself out here. What, you thought everybody was just gonna be like, oh, that's so nice? No. Like, you foolish to even think that nobody was gonna, be opposition to whatever it is you was trying to do. So then then you turn around and say, black women are dumb, white women are smarter. They don't, they don't have all this rah-rah to say back and forth to you. Who don't? We've gotten to this place where, a lot of us think white is right and white is better and white schools are better and this is better and that's better. These neighborhoods are better. It's like, that mindset has warped us. It really has. So bad. So bad. And like, even with her, like, I don't even want to go into his and her looks and all of that, because that's common. But it is just, how do you have the nerve to say this, a group of people are dumb because you don't particularly like their comments to you, but you're on social media? You put yourself out there in hopes to go viral. So then you get viral, and now you have a problem with all the kickback you're getting. But then you give people nasty. And she was just on, he was just, we, whatever, was just on with what's his name? Darius Cooks. And Darius asked him, or her, whatever, is this what you want the people to see? You want them to see you like this. And the reply was yes. And he said, well, when you first got on here, you wasn't like this. Yes, I was. You don't know me. I've always been like this. And it's like, that's bullshit. Like, personally, we don't know you. But when you first came on the scene here, you wasn't giving all that. It was, Charles, your lunch is ready, and all this other mess. And it was like, okay, whatever this is. And really, he gonna eat that? That should look like slop. All right, cool. He eating it, I guess, whatever. And then the people started with you look like Bill Cosby, and putting Bill Cosby's face side by side with Miss Netta's. And it's like, okay, here it goes. It started. And then you get to a place where, you start thinking that you an actual celebrity. First of all, girl, ma'am, have several seats. You're not a celebrity. Sit your ass down. However, you have developed somewhat of an influence. Cool, get that. Then you start, I guess the comments and the constant comments and probably, women coming after Charles or saying stuff personally to Charles, DMing him and all that kind of stuff, and him replying and you finding out about that started to get to you, right? Because some people do that. They, it's like, oh, that ugly thing, I could snatch that. I could snatch him up from her, whatever. You don't need that. I could turn you back straight and all this other, mess that I'm sure he gets, right? So all that stuff gets you frustrated. But for you to turn around and say, Black women are dumb, white women are smarter, they don't go back and forth. Again, we're also saying, Tom, we're also saying, sorry about that. We're also saying that you, what, you don't like your mother? And again, there's a lot of trauma with some people. It's like, yo, go sit on the couch somewhere. But I don't think, I don't feel comfortable in this space. I really don't. I don't feel comfortable in this space. I don't at all. Like I don't. I don't feel comfortable in this space at all. Because granted, even though the others are stopping or blocking or kind of ensuring that their race continues by stopping abortions, and so they can, have incest or any kind of thing to keep their white fertility bloodline going, they still ain't out here publicly saying they women ain't shit. They just legislating they ain't shit by controlling their bodies, but they're not publicly coming out and saying, oh yeah, dumb, oh yeah, they don't, they just deserve to do this, that, don't talk to them with any kind of respect, disrespect them. However, legislative wise, they are saying the same thing. They're just not saying it to how this is happening. Like when you're seeing all these things, the social media influencers, quote unquote, former president of the United States coming to a Black event and basically troping the same thing over and over. I've done more for the Blacks, for the African American than Abraham Lincoln. Bullshit. LBJ, the Civil Rights Act. And I mean, granted, he had to, he got pressure on him to do it because he didn't really want to do it. But he still did it. But, we negate that. That don't matter. I say Lincoln because, people know Lincoln. There's a whole Lincoln monument. So I'm just going to go with Lincoln. And people just fall right into it. And this whole thing of like not being Black, even by our own people, is ridiculous to me. We all know that we all come from different backgrounds and nationalities, but are still Black. You know what I'm saying? Like we are a melting pot of a whole lot of things, but we're still Black. You've known that since she was in the Senate for years. It was like now that she's possibly to ascend to the presidency of the United States, now, oh, she's not Black. But I mean, come on, y'all. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, and granted, yes, unfortunately, how this country is, she can't just say, yeah, y'all, when I get in here, just like Barack, he couldn't say, yeah, when I get in here, I'm gonna do everything for y'all and nothing for them. We gonna get our shit back. Can't say that and want to hope to win the vote of scared white folks who will vote for you But at the same time, they don't want you to do what they know have been done to us. So you got to be mindful of like, okay, I get you got to play the game. So yeah, she got to laugh sometimes because if she felt like saying how she feels and just being assertive, there's that angry black woman. She's so angry. She's so angry. I mean, so it gets really ridiculous that you're like, yo, I don't know what to do, like where to go at this point. So I don't know. It's just it's really crazy. It's just so sad. Hey JLC, how are you? Productions. No, I have not watched any of Miss Netta's videos. Yeah, I haven't either, but it was this one clip where she was going back and forth. Basically, I guess somebody left a comment and she, was going off on the comment, but then she started talking about black women as a whole, that they were dumb and all this other kind of stuff. And of course, then previously before that, there was another clip that she was saying she was voting for Trump because Trump gave her a stimulus check. And it's like, how dumb and naive are you really? And she's not the only one. There's a lot of people that just think, oh yeah, because he gave us money. And he's like, no, the reality is basic civics 101. No, he did not give you money. The president does not hold the purse strings to the money you get at all. Congress does. If you want to thank anybody or hang on anybody's coattails, everybody in Congress. That's how you got a stimulus check. Definitely not by Donald Trump. The only thing you can thank Donald Trump for is if you were supposed to get a stimulus check and you didn't get one, and it was like late, like hella late. Other people were saying, oh, they got one, and you didn't get one. And then all of a sudden you did get one and it was signed by the president. That's because he wanted to make sure he signed it so you would think it came directly from him. As a ploy to, look, vote for me. I'm giving you money. Vote for me. But the reality is they were about to tank. They had to do something to get so the economy wouldn't die because people weren't working. It's like there's always things to this that if you follow, you get it. If nobody's working, nobody's doing anything because we're dealing with COVID. No money is moving. Nothing is moving. So after a while, we would tank like the rest of Europe was tanking. Greece in the hole, all these other places. So they had to do something. So the most obvious thing is, hey, we have some extra money here. We can throw that back out. We give that back out, let them go buy some stuff, kind of give us a reboot. Once you do that, then okay, the bill is due. It's like a credit card. They just gave you a credit card to go swipe it. Then when the bill comes, who's paying the bill? Oh, you think the government was going to be like, oh, it's okay, you swipe that card, we got it, we'll pay that bill for you, no problem. No, when you got your taxes, if you got your taxes back, you already know that you didn't get what you normally got back. No, because you had to pay that bill. They gave it to you, but you had to pay it back. And so if you got two, you had to pay two back or either one back. It all depends. You would have to look at your taxes and see, but you paid it back. But that's just my thing. It's like we don't care to know how the sausage is made. We just care about the sausage. And it's like that's definitely the wrong way to go when you're dealing in this realm, because you need to know how the sausage is made before you even know, like, look at the sausage just on surface, because there's so many other things that happen behind the scenes or have happened before that kind of lead up to something, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But if you don't know that, you just think stupid, naive stuff like, oh yeah, he gave us stimulus checks, that's why I'm voting for him. But again, like I said in the very beginning, this whole lack of respect for women, let alone black women, it frightens me. It does, because you get to a place where are your daughters or your nieces gonna be safe? And I worry about my sisters and my nieces and you know all of them, because I'm not with them 24/7, 7 days a week. Or who they encounter. Uh, and people out here are crazy. They're not the sanest. And hearing somebody that they idol kind of treat people like that, they will go out in the world and do the same thing and disrespect grandmothers and things of that nature. So, I just think we need to be mindful that this is larger than just, hey, I just want to, get my couple of minutes, get my face in the news, have y'all talking about what I did or what I said. This is larger than that. This is larger than that. These people actually think that their whole culture and way of life is about to shift. And if you thought January 6th was something, okay, you just wait. So after this happens and well, I'll just put it out there, he loses. Because mind you, as we speak right now, they have already set up to have many of the electors put in place that are Trump supporters, right? And they will hold back the count of the actual vote. They've already done it in Georgia. It's already in place. The only person that could stop that is Governor Kemp. Will he? I don't know. We would have to see. But the fact that we have to wait to see if this actually happens at this point is ridiculous. But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I just say if you have a wife and you can really look your wife in the face and be okay with all of this and even turn around and vote for someone who's blatantly disrespectful to women, you need to check yourself. You really do. And I mean, I truly just blame all of the Christian doctrine for this kind of thing. Because you put men on this pedestal of hierarchy and everybody else down below. When in reality, we don't even know if that's really true, to be honest. I mean, because I know this is a lot for a lot of people, but let's just be very clear. The women are the ones who actually carry the child, right? So without that moment of the child being in the womb of the mother, there is no child. So you can shoot that shit out of your all day long. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing at all is going to happen. So I think that whole concept of the man came first was kind of, twisted to make, men feel above or superior to women. And then, of course, later on, that went further to then colors. These we're white, we're better than those others. It just snowballed. And oh yeah, look, in the Bible, it's okay to have a slave, and it's okay for you to be a slave, and know that your reward is in heaven. Look, it says it right here in this good book that you can't read, but I can read it for you. Like, when will we just break these damn chains? It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous and sad. I just think, yeah, We need to stand up and really take a step back. And it's like, is this the kind of legacy that you want to leave your children? You want your daughters to grow up in a world thinking that, they are less than? No, you don't. You don't want your nieces thinking that they're less than. You don't want your granddaughters thinking that they're less than. You wouldn't want that. You remember what that felt like for you. When somebody felt like you couldn't do it, you would never achieve to where you are. And look where you are now. But if you believed everything that somebody told you, you would be in a different space. And I think we owe that. I think there's been too many sacrifices from the people before us to just think that we are in this comfortable space that we have been given to just be like, oh, well, it's like, no, we have so long to go. And yeah, we have issues amongst ourselves, but certain things we definitely don't need to be doing this right now. Because if we start respecting each other wholeheartedly, they won't disrespect us. Because you don't allow them to disrespect us in any way. Even if you're voting for them, there's a level of respect you can still give. Though the person, though you may want the person's vote, that there's a certain level of respect that you're not going to, a line you're not going to cross. He feels very comfortable crossing that. And just like with the influencer, with the he, she, we, Netta monster thing, stop watching. If she think black women are dumb, show her black women are dumb. They're dumb enough not to cut on their channels or watch anything that she does. So when them checks dry up because people aren't watching anymore, then that's how you show them. Because you ain't going to sit here and call me dumb. I don't care if you wasn't talking about me. I'm black. I'm a woman. You were talking about me. You said I'm dumb. All right, I'll show you just how dumb I am. But black women are so dumb, yet you walk around, quote unquote, for social media, not in public, but in social media, dress like and somewhat imitating a black woman. Right, but they dumb. You ain't out here painting your face white, walking around like a white woman. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Then you got your president calling Kamala dumb. She didn't graduate. What do you say? She didn't graduate law school. All this stuff. And it's just like, I was like, oh, he's just saying that. But no, he's not really just saying that. The fact that you have to understand, he doesn't think that we're qualified to do anything. Okay? When he said black jobs, you know exactly what he meant by what he thought black jobs are. He don't think a black job is the job he has. He does not think a black job is the job that anybody of any kind of, he definitely probably don't even think Clarence Thomas's job is a black job. It's only probably a job that he'll let by because he can use his influence as of right now. But if that shift changes, he won't need. Why would he need Clarence Thomas? And that's why I wish a lot of the black people who are so strongly about Trump will see, like, he's only doing because he needs you. Once he don't need you anymore, you're useless. And they can steamroll and do whatever else they want to do, and then you'll end up in the same boat. It's almost like, people that was giving the Spanish, the Africans that were giving the Spanish some of their captors to put into slavery, thinking that they was doing like this whole trade thing. All right, cool. I'll give you some of this, and you give me some of your locked up captives, and yeah, even trade. Don't worry about it. Until they started to realize, oh yeah, they clobbering us upside the head too, and putting us on the ships and sending us to the islands and to the Americas. Yeah, we getting clobbered too. Yeah, of course. Of course you are. Because you're of no benefit. Once you lead me to where I need to be and the supply is coming, I don't need you anymore. So you get put in the place where the rest of them are, because you are still them. You are no different. You're no different. You're no different. So I just I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get it. Like I think our women deal with a lot. They deal with a lot. Uh, Single parents, a lot of them, dealing in situations and things with little to no support. And it's like, really? She can't ask you a simple question, sir, and you just can't answer the question? You just, okay. That thing irritated me so much. It just really did, because I just watched him with Laura Ingraham, like I was saying, and he didn't give her no kind of pushback. Granted, yeah, she's on Fox News and she likes him, so it was okay. But still, she did ask a question in regards to him saying you don't have to vote anymore, and he danced around it. Well, it's just the Christians. I just want to make sure that they know that they can vote. They just need to vote, and because they don't vote, and it's this country and this economy and this. Come on, let's be real. Let's really be real. Barely people were working in 3 years. If you think everything was going to be cheap and low priced after people not working for 3 years really like that, and grocery stores really not making the kind of money that they were normally making, producers and exporters making the money that they would normally make, given certain circumstances, of course things were going to, it was a given that things were going to go up. Given. And if you didn't think so, I don't know where you've been, but of course things were going to go up. And at the same time, at the same token, places like CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, all those places that were kind of considered essential to this pandemic and was able to stay open and have long hours and do all that just so you can get toilet paper and all those other little necessities that you needed, made a killing. Buku money. And you think any of those companies decided, you know what, let's give some of our earnings, let's give them back, either through programs or anything of that nature? Nope. They even dug their heels in even more and got government surplus, aka welfare, so they could give the shot, the vaccines or whatever it was, in their stores. More money. So I don't know. It's just crazy to me. It really is. But I don't know. I don't know. I do know this one thing. I'm tired of the disrespect. I really am. I think enough is enough. Enough is enough. You disrespect the whole black man talking about, oh, he's not born here, he's not in this country. I want to see a birth certificate. Now, oh, she's not black. She's just claiming she's black now. Before she was always claiming she was Indian. Who are you talking about? Nikki Haley or her? Like, are you confused? Because you was just saying it about Nikki Haley a couple months ago. And then I saw somebody posting a picture of Kamala, and it was like her uncle or her grandfather on her mother's side, who was Indian, and talking about something that was her father. No, that was not her father. That's not her father. Like, stop it with the misinformation. I think that's ridiculous. But that's really all I had. I just had to get that off my chest, and I appreciate you guys for listening and yeah, sharing your thoughts. But I don't know. I just think it's crazy. If you got any, I'll stay on for a couple minutes. But if you got a question, comment, concern, anything like that, you can pop it in the chat. If not, I can roll out. But I don't know. It's just getting really crazy, and I don't. It's like, talk about your merits, right? Like, you don't have to degrade women in this matter. It's already bad enough to where you're really putting out an all-out onslaught on women, period. That, like, they shouldn't vote, they shouldn't be allowed to vote, they shouldn't be allowed to do this. It's like, well, but what gives you the authority that you should? Because some book told you came first? It's just ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. Because without the incubation period of a mother's womb, you don't create anything. So then I'm confused into who told you you were the creator of life when no life comes through you. No life comes through you as a man. No life comes through you. Not at all. Not at all. You may be the contributor to life, but life does not come through you. I don't know. Maybe it's just me and my thought, but I don't know. I just find it to be hella crazy. And I wish they would chill out on this disrespect to women, especially black women, because that's all it's going to give is some of these saltines the power to think that they can disrespect any black woman that they feel like when they feel like it. And for black women, start going to the gun ranges, learning how to shoot, getting an actual license to carry if you can in your state to protect yourself from any one of these dummies. Because I just see this getting so much worse past politics. I mean, just imagine what we know what he did to those 2 poll workers in Georgia. We know what they did. So you can just imagine if they were given a green light to do that to any and everybody they felt like it. So, we got to take a stand for something. We really do. I think it's important. It is definitely important. But anyway, that's enough of me running off at the mouth. I'll put the link down here for a second. If not, then I will go about my business because I know people are talking about everything else. Vegas yet again, this one and that one, and this one being in DC this weekend, and all this other mess. But we shall see. We shall see. But once again, thank you guys for popping in and stopping by and dropping by. I always appreciate it. definitely would like to know your thoughts on what you think about uh, the state of Black women in this uh, heated election, um, which is only going to heat up even more as we get closer to November, because August is here. Okay, August is here. Uh, we are 96 days after today. It'll be 96 days away from Election Day. So, not a lot of time. Not a lot of time at all. So, do your work. Do your work. Do your research. Know who you're voting for. Know why you're voting, right? Um, and make sure it's a plan that you see out through the future that works for you, right? And I know I was watching Brian earlier, and he said he's going to sit this one out because Trump said something that he didn't agree with. So then my thought was, well, you're only going to vote for Trump? Other than that, you weren't going to vote. Now, what sense does that make? It's like, well, if you say you're open and non-biased to either party, then you would do your research on either party and go with the party that best suits you, right? Um, but there's other races that you could still vote for. So don't even sit out. I don't think you should even sit out. And that goes for anybody. I don't think you should sit out this one just because you may not like the top ticket candidates. There are local candidates still running in this election that you need to be paying attention to. The ones that actually, affect the things that happen on in your state, from government funding to, programs to, just you getting your paycheck on time and what it's supposed to be. Your local sheriffs, judges, all those people will be on the ballot this November. So definitely vote. Again, not saying who you should vote for, but that you vote. Yes, it's your civic duty to do so. So please make sure you do that. Hey, Subi honey, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, it's your civic duty to vote. So get out there and vote. Don't just sit this one out because you may not like the top ticket candidates. Um, voting is important. It's part of your civic duty. I say do it before you can't do it at all, because that's on the ballot too. Because if the other party wins, that's what's going to happen. And people keep thinking like, "Oh, that can't happen." Who the hell said it can't? Your rights to vote are not, in stone. It's not like the Ten Commandments. It is literally just an amendment. Thank you for the cash app. Thank you so much. It is just an amendment. That's it. It's just like a little side note. It's like voting for all. They know all meant white men. They know all didn't mean everybody. It meant white men, rich white men at that. So then the amendments was made. Well, no, we're going to put an amendment here to give Black people and people of color the right to vote. Then we're going to put an amendment in here too, also giving women the right to vote. Because you guys didn't have the right to vote either. So I don't know. I think this is quite a dangerous area that they're playing in and that we're allowing them to play in. Because I can't idly sit by and watch any woman get disrespected, let alone a woman that looks like me that I came from. I just can't. I cannot sit. And granted, I may not agree with everything, but I will never go to the point of like utter disrespect. And again, that's just me, but I just think that this is the level being the president and holding some high office used to have a sense of reverence to it, right? Just a little bit. And now we've almost dumbed it down to like, it's not really that big of a deal, but it should be, because at the end of the day, it's not only the leader of the free world, we're the most powerful person in the world, period. Like, we really look at the presidency so small lately because of, excuse me, Donald Trump, his antics and all that other stuff. But when you really look at it on the grand scheme of things, the world looks to the president of the United States for everything. Everything. We always talk about, oh, we need to be focused more on home than other places. But if you really look at it, we are everywhere. And in everywhere. There are military bases all over the world that, when something goes wrong, if we got a big military base there, they're looking for us to protect them and be like, hey, help us out. Help us out over here too. Watch out over here. Do this. And I'm not saying that they're perfect, because it's not. But the reality is they are. They're everywhere. So they're going to have times where it's we can't just isolate ourselves. Yes, years ago, the fake founding father of George Washington, slave owner, he did say that America moving forward into the future should isolate itself and focus on itself. But that's not even possible now. And we always like to interpret or stick with what these founding fathers had said and what they thought. We're in a whole different age. We're dealing with people who had wooden teeth compared to people, now getting porcelain veneers and shit. Like, we're two different internet and smartphones and self-driving cars to horses and buggies and all that other shit. Like, we're two different, like, we're on a whole different spectrum. So we cannot kind of take their time and their thoughts and kind of mash it in here. It's not going to work. It's not. We can't isolate ourselves from the world when we are policing the world. I mean, we do. Yeah, there's the UN, but the UN highest earner or stake in the UN is the United States. So they're in everything. So I don't know. It drives me crazy. It does. But leave the black woman alone. Leave the black woman alone. I think you guys do a great job. I commend you all, whether you have children or not. It is a tough job being a woman. Always being thought of not being equal, not getting paid as much, always having to prove that you are better than, and even going into spaces where people already count you out. Trust me, I know what that's like, but that's okay too, because then when you actually show them you ain't about that life, and you see the look on their face, like, oh shit. That's a good feeling. But to go through life like that, and then to have, religion plowed into you that, hey, you are less than, you are second to, you are second tier, you are the person that caused the quote unquote first man to sin and change this whole world, so it's all your fault, which I think, again, bullshit, but just to help bring it home that they were trying to create that man came first and the man is this and you are second tier. So then now we're going to add on a little extra salt and say, you know what, you are the cause of all this that we go through, because the woman ate the damn apple and gave the apple to Adam. from the tree of life or whatever kind of fruit it was to eat it, and he ate it. Like he didn't have a mind of his own not to eat it. But it's your fault, woman. It is all your fault. And that's the kind of true reality we live in. And don't get me started on these white Christians, these white fake KKK Holy Ghost Christians. Don't get me started on them. Hey, Just Lovely, how are you? Don't get me started on that. But yeah, I definitely appreciate. Hey, hi, my 2 cents. Welcome. I definitely appreciate all of the Black women in my life. Thank you so much for being you, for being supportive, and just being yourselves and powering through this world and showing that you can do it and you really don't need, you may not be a man, yeah, but you can still teach your children, being a single mother, how to be in the world. I don't believe in that whole women can't raise men. No, you can't necessarily teach a man or a boy how to be a man, right? But you can give him the right tools on how to treat women, right? And how to be respectful and how to like I said, treat a woman and honor a woman in a way that is not like, you knocking them down, because that's the only way you show that you a real man is by knocking all these women down. That's not being a man. And we're so caught up in this kind of, you got to have all these women to show that you're a man and all these children and not be responsible. And just because you do happen to have the money, you knocking up all these women, and that shows, you're a man. Like, no, hell no. Because you having all these children, even though you may have the money, you're not there, right? So they're missing out on times where they could really learn from you, and you could have that one-on-one relationship, because somebody's going to miss out. Somebody's going to miss out. Everybody's not going to get that same kind of nurturing that they would have gotten because you spreading yourself. So I don't know. Just this is just crazy. I just want you women to protect yourselves. Stay vigilant out there. Because after watching this, it just made me very nervous. And I don't want to feel that way, that I have to always be worried about, like, some knucklehead don't try to, do nothing crazy to Black women now that he's seen this old knucklehead just talks to them crazy. Because people do that out here. They don't just listen to him or watch him and think, he's funny, he's charismatic. No, some of these people take what he says and the things he did literally to actually do them. And we want to be mindful of that. But other than that, I think I'm done. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Like I said, thanks again for popping in and hanging out with me. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the drop-down box or hit me up on Instagram or wherever you know me. If you have any other questions, what I was about to say? I was about to say something else. I don't know. I forgot. It'll come to me later. But anyway, you have a great night as well. Thank you so much. All right. And until next time, or if something else pops up, then, you might catch me. But other than that, have a great night, guys. Peace.